Yeah. Hello, all. Welcome to FMA discussion. We are live. This is episode 128, and today we are featuring Marko, and from Croatia. Am I correct?
Yeah, right.
Croatia. So, what's Tell me something. I'm glad we're getting, because my goal has always been to get more from Europe and all that. I definitely, and I've been trying to do that, and obviously, I think you're the second or third one. That is from there, and I definitely plan to add to that. So if you ever, if you could think of anybody else, I mean, by all means, let me know if there's some people you think are
Yes,
doing great
I
stuff.
definitely. Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely have. I have a guy that I would love that you interview.
yeah, no, definitely. 'Cause I definitely want to get them more exposure and all that. And again, like I told you before, I'm not so consumed with with the big names. I just, if they're doing great stuff, I mean, that works for me. So then,
Yeah.
tell me something. What's your COVID situation like over there? I mean, are you guys like, is it like lockdown? Are you guys okay? What's going on?
There's no lockdown as of yet. Shops and shops, malls and stuff like that, they're open. You just have to wear a mask on the inside. As far as training goes, it was. I think last week they put a ban on inside training, so you can't train in a gym or a dojo, but you can train outside.
Okay, okay, yeah, kind of similar to us. Like, if you go anywhere, you got to wear a mask. I mean, and right in the gyms, currently status quo, we have to wear one, and it's just, I don't know, this just, I just can't believe we're going beyond a year of this. You know?
Yes.
I mean, this is, and we got some people. Yes, folks, if you are watching, please tell us where you're watching from. Hit the like button and all that. We're going to get started. And again, if you just jumped in, this is episode 128, and we're featuring Marko from Croatia, who does not want to be called Tuhan. Just kidding. So we're just gonna go with Marko, which works for me because I just like people calling me. So we got Marko,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
got Felix, and we got Frank. All right, we got, okay. We're gonna jump into it. So all right. So before you jump to MMA, just quickly for the folks, what was your initial martial arts background?
Okay, so my early exposure to martial arts was through judo, and from judo I moved on into kickboxing. From kickboxing I moved into, and that's after my teens, so that's after my 20s. I moved into like reality-based training, and from there on, I think it was 2011. Yeah, it was. Or 2010, I can't remember. I think it was November 2010. I attended my first ever weapon-based seminar because I've never trained weapons prior to that, and I instantly got hooked. And from that on, basically jumped from different types of training, and here I am today,
So
still
okay, so
training
no,
after 10 years. Yeah.
interesting. So the seminar you just referenced, who was conducting it? What style was it?
So my first exposure to weapons was not Filipino martial arts. I never even heard of that term until maybe 2012. So the
Mm,
instructor was he's a famous martial artist here in Croatia. His name is Shihan Dejan Rostakar. He's a high-level Bujikan practitioner, but he's also a Croatian war veteran, wounded in battle,
mm,
and the system that was that he was showing was his variation of it, which was called, it's still called Spetvog, which is basically knives, empty hand combat, axes, guns, rifles, close quarter combat, long range combat, and similar stuff. So like modern self protection.
okay, okay. So then, all right. So then you got exposed to weapons for the first time. Obviously, you want to see
Yes.
more of it. From that
Yeah.
experience, who did you? I mean, I guess what led to your first FMA experience? Who and when?
So, my first exposure to FMA was, ironically, it was not weaponry. So around 2011, a bunch of us that were interested in weapon fighting, because there was no weapon-based fighting in Split, in the city where I lived, and no one was training like weaponry and stuff like that. It was mostly all unarmed combat. So a bunch of us that were interested in it got together. We rented the space and we started like knife fighting, knife sparring. And this guy comes up, my friend Marin that was training at that time with us. He says, "You got to check this out. You're gonna laugh now, but that was like, you got to check this dirty boxing. It's called Parantukan."
Oh boy, oh boy, that Western creation. Oh boy.
Yeah. So he says, "You got to check it out." And it was Guru Daniel Sullivan's program. We bought that. I remember.
Yeah, I have it. I bought it at interest. I was just curious, but okay, I'm familiar with the program. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So most of us that started training, that I started a little experimenting group, we came from different empty-handed fighting system, but for the most part, we all trained some sort of striking, either boxing, kickboxing, and so Parantukan or Parantukan, it was very, very interesting. It looked cool. We were all into Jason Bourne movies, so it was all kind of
yeah, all that great stuff.
Yeah. So I think it was 2012. I'm not sure. We went to our first seminar in Austria. I think it was. Oh my God! I think it was. I'm not. Kill me if I can remember, but it was some sort of rapid arnis or something like that. It was a stick-based seminar, and that's the first time I saw Filipino martial arts apart from YouTube videos, and I was blown away. Like they were doing Subrada and Sinawali, and again. To me, I'm still looking through like white belt eyes, but at that time, like everything that anyone did, like I watched Markaida, I watched different Pekiti videos. I was, oh my God, they're killers. Everyone's swinging sticks, knives, similar stuff like that. And later on, we jumped to a Markaida seminar. After that, I didn't make it to a Pekiti seminar, but slowly we started gaining bits and pieces of knowledge. And around that time, because we were interested in weapon sparring, we started watching a lot of. I got hooked on a lot of Dog Brother stuff, and I got hooked on it immediately. I bought all the fights. I bought the basic courses. I was hooked, especially the fighting style of Guru Benjamin Rittner, Lonely Dog. Because he's from Switzerland, and I got hooked to it. And later on, I met my main sources, which I consider that shaped my style of training and approaching the stick, which is Guru Slaven Planinic and the Carlos brothers, Sixto and Baste.
Okay, so wow. So when you it's like. Yeah, I remember that time being first exposed to it. And you're just seeing it, and you get like so immersed. And then of course you just want more and more, and all that. And you don't really have a direction in the beginning because you just want to consume all of it and get a taste for all of it. But so when you I was gonna say there. So your first one you referenced something that was minor knees or something.
It was the guy was wearing red pants. I can remember that like clear as day. Like they were wearing those, red pants.
It sounds like because they definitely the belts. They have a belt system and such.
Yeah. And it was. I remember looking at my friend because it was. To me at that time, seminars were normal. To me, the concept of a seminars was normal, that a guy would show up and he would show 50 drills, and after the seminar, you would maybe remember 2.
Man, I could tell you about that, man. My first time I used to go to one of my first teacher in FMA used to bring Larry Hartzell out. And I'd be trying to like take notes, and like they were already on to like 2 other things, and it was just useless. It was just useless even to try. But you're right. If you leave like after a weekend summer, if they're coming down the weekend, if uh if you leave with like a few things that you remember, like that's actually pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're just not gonna remember
which
all of it.
is yeah, which is I would say, like, compared to martial sports or combat sports,
Mm,
it's very different. Like,
mm,
even in, like, if you I've attended like a kickboxing seminar or a Brazilian jiu-jitsu seminar. It's different. Like, you will study techniques, but it will be more
yeah.
based upon principle. And after the theory part is over, or the drill part is over, you
Mm,
will start adding light resistance, and then you will build up to like going,
yeah.
which is but again, I never question it, because to me it was all new. Like, I remember my first knife seminar, it was 3 days, 7 hours a day. So my brain was
Um,
literally melting. I couldn't remember,
right.
do I
Yeah.
really cut and come to the outside, or were we doing it like this? And like, me and my friends were like, we need to record this. But of course, there's that rule on seminars that you can't record the material if they don't give
Yeah.
you
No, some
permission.
people don't like that. They want to
Writing in
prove
the
it.
books like, Perry, step to the outside, or do
No,
this or
I
do
know.
that.
It's
Yeah.
pointless. The thing is, those seminars, they're really made. What I found out is it's like you have to go to a lot of them before you can click into what they do and you know what they're doing, and then maybe they're showing additional change maybe to like a pattern or something like that. But if you're first and you're going to it's overwhelming. You're just not gonna be able to get everything down.
And yeah, and like my friend later on said, those types of demonstrations are more to show that the instructor knows and that
It's
he's
about him.
present.
It's really about him. Because if it was, I
Yes.
tell you, and you raised such a good point. Because if it was really about the students, they would just give you a few things, a few concepts, and they would illustrate the few concepts by some technique. So you actually guys would actually leave like with a good functional base, as opposed to getting a plethora of things because they want to show, like you said, to make them look, you know,
Yeah.
like
So
all knowing.
yeah, I can draw a parallel. I remember I took my wife to an X fighting seminar. So when I say X fight, it was X drill seminar,
Mm,
but it was like with this type of X, so a short type of hatchet.
mm,
So my wife was already into like weapons and knives and stuff like that, and I took her, and she literally said to me after the first day, she says, I can't do this. Like, we did 300 drills,
I know.
and after every drill it will be like, oh, no, I can add something. Okay, so we're here, so he punches, so we go here, but then if he hooks we can go here. And I'm like,
Yeah,
no
I
one's
know. I
no
know.
one's gonna
I
remember
know.
that.
Or pull it off, or based on what the content they're showing. I know. Like you said, though, it's about them. They want to enamor everybody with this whole plethora of
Yeah.
techniques that they know. And but if you look at it from a real functional baseline, you're gonna be like, I don't know, a majority of it you're gonna be probably throwing out.
So
um,
I can draw. Well, I said I can draw a parallel. So the first time the first time my mind was ever like truly blown on a seminar, which is like, a lot of people say, I've witnessed this and it changed my mind. It truly blew my mind. Was Kali Silistrissimo seminar by Guru Arnold Narza from the
mm,
from the Kiro branch. So that was 2018. So that was maybe 3 years ago. So he comes to this seminar. I'm thinking, well, I brought my book. I brought my cell phone. This is going to be like, 30 drills, but at least I'll get 5 or 6 of them. And so he comes. We do angle 1, angle 2, planchadas, aldabis, retirada, atracada, X, lutang, all the, and that's it. He says, this is
yeah,
your long range fighting. Now I'm going to put on a glove and you're going to try to hit my hand. And I'm like, what?
that's the way I know. Like we actually get like a functionality out of it. You can actually like
Yeah.
take a few
I
things
was
and
like,
apply it. Yeah.
yeah, and I was like literally blown out of my mind. Like, this is like, he didn't go, I will show you 300. No, no, he said, this is the basics of long range fighting.
Mm,
Now we shall isolate this in hand and leg sparring, which was another thing. I was like, I never sparred Guru or
most don't. Yeah.
yeah, Yeah, so I'm sitting on the grass. I remember my first day so vividly because I'm sitting on my grass. My wife came, and I'm like thinking, "Wow!" I'm telling my wife like, "This guy is something else. Like this is like he teaches stick fighting like it's boxing. Like these are your basic combinations, and now we try to apply them." And he comes behind me and says, "I'm going to do a horrible Filipino accent, but he says, 'Hello, Marco. You want to spar?'" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Sure, yes." "You want to do stick or knife?" I'm like, let's do stick. So I'm 6 foot. I'm approximately 210 or 220, depending on the season. And Guru Arnold is a very, yeah, Guru Arnold is a very short man compared to, again, European standards. So we start fighting, and I cannot hit his hand at all. So now I'm getting frustrated, and he's like laughing, oh, and I'm like, what? How is this happening? This shouldn't be happening. Like I have bigger reach. So after that, we spar knife, and I'm like, okay, I've been doing knife more than the stick. Yeah. I'll get him on the knife. I maybe cut him once. He stabbed me all through the body, like I don't know, 10 times. He even trapped my foot and stabbed me, and he was like making it playful and everything. And the guys that were sitting, tall guys, were like, "How are you letting him hit you? How are you letting him hit you?" I'm like,
letting him do it?
Yeah. And I told them like, okay, come and try. And they come and one by one, he's hitting us all in the hands. And I'm like, he restored my faith into the title of Guru, because that is like some Yoda shit. Like I stopped believing in the tiny little masters that can fight off bigger, more athletic guys. But after I saw that, I'm like, I was blown away. And yeah. So
there's only one.
I'm so
per Mark Wiley, there's only one Yoda. That was Hiroshima. The rest are just Jedis. I thought that was so classic the way he said that. Man, that's like the quote of the year. So we got all right. So this is a question from Philip, and kind of long. This will fit in based on what we're talking about. How has FMA thus far, or even the experience that you just, relayed, how has it contributed to your overall fight game, FMA?
I would say that the biggest impact on me is that I can box completely southpaw. And that's mostly from the knife and stick. Like I remember 5 or 6 years ago, I was struggling. Like I could fight southpaw, but the moment I would get hit, I would switch to orthodox. Like I would switch to
go back to what you favored or comfortable with.
Now it's literally the only time I favor my let's say orthodox stance is when I grapple. Like I feel when I stand southpaw, I feel that I'm weak, especially if we're doing gi. But as far as what FMA, the biggest impact on my empty-handed skill is that I can truly fight from my southpaw stance without thinking, am I moving in the right direction? Wait, how do I slip punches? Like, am I going in the right? I'm not even thinking about it anymore. So that's the biggest thing that it had on my.
Okay. Yeah, that's fantastic. If you got more, where now you're more comfortable with it, and all that. Let's go. I just want to make sure I got some questions from Martin. I'm just seeing when I can plug them in. We could plug the second one in. Okay. So Martin's second question: what is your basic stance in stick sparring? How does he hold his stick? Is he constantly moving his weapon or keeping it in a loaded position?
So, can you see me?
I can see you perfectly. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So let's. So the way I hold my stick depends on the stick. I fight generally 75 centimeter sticks we use for sparring. So 75 centimeters is sheesh. That's this big. That's this big. So from
so on around 28 inches.
I think it's 30 inches.
Oh, 30. Okay.
Yeah. So if it's a heavier stick, it's okay. If it's a lighter stick, like we use these PVC sticks, which don't break. They're a little heavier than rattan, but they're more durable. I hold it without the puño. Yeah. So that comes from Cali Silistrissimo, of course. I hold it. If it's a heavier, longer stick, I use the generally rule of thumb. I will not grab it a whole fist, but half a fist. So I'll grab it like this. So this is more to do to control of the stick than any type of clinching, grappling, hooking.
Yeah, like you're not looking like necessarily to you. No, I got you.
No. Yeah. So as far as how I hold it, like my guard, if we are doing hand and leg sparring, so there's no grappling, there's no headshots, there's no clinching, no knees, no ground fighting. So just pure hand and leg sparring, or like let's say sword rules. I will stand elbow inside, fist is in line with my shoulder. So if someone's aiming at my arm, I can pull it back. I'm chambered and I can let it low. Or if I want to strike, I can strike without telegraphing. Again, I don't chamber the stick up. I release it from there. I don't keep it low and I don't keep it high.
I'm the same way. Pure KI. Pure KI. Or Lamego. Yeah.
Elbow is inside. So I don't stress this hand as much. I don't do the rigid hand. Generally, I stand very. Let me get it. I have to move out a lot. Yeah, just okay. So, can you see?
No, perfect.
Or no,
we're good. Yep.
Okay, so my stance is always I stand upright. My back leg is on my tiptoes, and I stand relatively upright. Okay, so from here, so that I can launch in quickly, I can do all of these footwork drills without having. I don't stand like
base now. I got you. Yeah.
Weight on my back foot. I plant my weight on my forward foot, but again, in a natural, like in a natural fighting stance. I call this my natural fighting stance. It's not too big, not too shallow, but my weight is on my forward foot. It's not like in some systems.
Back. I got you. Yeah, no, good answer. Yeah, it's funny. It's like the way it was always conveyed to me when I first got into KI was like you're walking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't, just so that's the way it was always kind of, interpreted to me.
I just want to add on. I'm sorry. So
sure, no, go ahead.
But when we play full contact, so when we everything goes, we can hit the head. We're wearing masks. We're wearing knee shields and stuff like that. I tend to stand more wider, and I'm chambered more. So I'm not standing upright. I chamber more. That is the sole fact, because when a person decides to crash,
they clinch. For you want to be based out. I got you.
And also, if I'm using a heavier stick, and of course, this is all playing. I'm not. When we fight full contact, sometimes I know I'm wearing a helmet, so sometimes I'll risk getting hit in the body or in the just, because it's not real life or death. But sometimes I'll keep my stick low. So that whole game comes again from Lonely Dog, where I'm waiting for someone to strike so I can move, block, or strike.
No, you draw the attack,
Or I draw the attack, or what I like to do a lot is the roof block with the
front kick. Yeah, pure Dog Brothers. Yeah.
I square up and I attack, and then bam. But again, depending on how we're fighting, I'll change my fighting stance. But it's usually I'm always facing my opponent. I don't fight karate like a bladed stance.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, no, nice explanation. Yeah, I tell you, I mean, it's funny. I trained with Mark Denny like 20 years, and I really enjoyed it and all that. But I was younger then and all that. But I remember that front kick. You know what I mean? Coming with that front kick and shit. It's good stuff though. You know what I mean? Yeah. But okay, so your current, you kind of already alluded to it, but we'll go with it anyway. So your current FMA studies, you're currently, I mean, you're still with Coach Arnold, right? Or
No, I'm actually Coach Guru Slaven is the official Calisolistrissimo representative for Croatia and for Bosnia and Herzegovina, and he's the guy that actually brought KI into this part.
Okay, so are you under him then? Is that so?
Yeah, I wouldn't say. Yeah, I would say like I when I get chances, I train with him whatever I can whenever he comes here. He has like Guru Slaven is in every right of way guru. Like he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He has multiple FMA systems under his belt. He's a former MMA fighter. He's a war veteran. So the guy is like a walking encyclopedia of knowledge. And he went to the Philippines to study with Guru Arnold. And after that, when he came back, he brought him here into my town. 2018 and 2019, Guru Arnold came for a fight camp. So it was a 7-day long fight camp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was Calisolistrissimo, and he brought Guru Sixto and Baste to show Carlos Hermanos. Now, Slaven has showed us before Carlos Hermanos the stick fighting system, at least, and I was hooked immediately to it. I think Guru Slaven, Guru Sixto, Guru Baste, and Guru Arnold are definitely my main martial inspirations. Yeah, and as far as FMA, of course, I love adding different stuff. I love clinching. I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I love adding different. I've started now studying like from the books like saber fight, like European saber fencing, to see if I can add these like high guards and stuff like that, how they add into the stick and stuff like that. So I always add stuff, but when you see my sparring footage, it's mostly I stand sometimes very like Calisolistrissimo, sometimes I stand more like Dog Brotherish or Carlos Hermanos. I don't know.
It's so true.
Yeah,
it's so true. Like because you're doing like all out, where there's the possibility you could get clinch or go to ground. You definitely want that shock absorber when it's gonna be that crash, you know.
Yes, of course. And it's funny story is I've done grappling before. Like I've done grappling, like no-gi grappling and stuff like that. But the thing that drove me into jiu-jitsu was it was I think it was 2016 or 17. It was 2017. We all gathered here and we had like a training session. So guys from Sarajevo, from Bosnia and Herzegovina came, Guru Slaven and Professor Jasmin, who's also a Brazilian black belt, and we started fighting. And I was thinking like, I can defend takedowns until I got taken down 3 or 4 times. He passed my guard, he went knee on belly, bashed my head, and we were stick fighting. And after that, I told myself, I gotta learn this shit. Like I gotta really focus, because guys can take shots, and guys in the United States, like just rushing in like this, they can clinch you and grab you. And if you don't know it, and if you don't know how to defend takedowns or get up from your back, you're in a world.
It's used to be a very long or short day. I mean, it's so true. I mean, that's the thing. That's why Eric Nels, when he came with the Dog Brothers, the reason why he incorporated the fang chokes and all that, because guys were getting crowned in the head with the helmets on and still kept on trucking. You know, in the ground, man. Exactly. If you can't defend takedowns, I don't care what you know. Like, it's not going to matter out there that you know what I mean? And how underhooks, overhooks, man. You better know that. You better know.
Yes.
Yeah, well said.
It's a very humbling feeling. Like when you're fighting, when you're sparring, when you're sparring sticks and you're wearing armor and you hit him, he hits you, the buzzer goes off, and you're thinking, I got him good. If it was if it was the streets, maybe he would go down. But you never know. While in jiu-jitsu, when someone dominates you on the ground, there's
it's not questionable, man.
It's not questionable. Like,
when they when they transition from side control to mount and all that, yeah, I mean, it's like, gee, you know, out there, maybe I would have, no.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, it's, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All right, I want to jump into this because this I think when I first noticed you, and I was immediately intrigued by what you show because I appreciate anybody who looks at empty hand versus knife in a really realistic way, acknowledging there's going to be failures, it's going to be difficult. You're without failures, you're not going to get success. They have a good methodology, and of course, they adapt or believe in the 2-on-1, which is all the conclusions I found. And so when I first saw that, matter of fact, I recall commenting on your thing, just because I'm like, wow, this guy's really addressing this with like integrity, honesty. He's not just freaking like playing fairy tale land or trying to push an agenda that's just not going to freaking work, which and all that. So when you what do you like, generally speaking, without, and we don't need, like, overall, when you look at empty hand against knife in the community, like, what do you, just generally speaking, we don't have to say systems like that, but like, what is your lens overall when you look at what's being shown in the community, generally speaking?
So, when we say we don't need to mention systems, I like to mention systems. Not
Okay.
to downplay anyone. I'll mention them to upplay. So I've watched and experienced a couple of, I won't name the systems, which have a very intricate passing, tapping.
Tapping, yeah, yeah.
So, but it's mostly static. Like your feet do move, but the problem in generally, and this is just my opinion, I'm gonna get trashed in the comments. The problem generally of all of the empty-handed versus knife, or even empty-handed versus empty-handed, so the grappling, the dumog, or stuff like that, nothing is done with forward momentum or pressure. So when I say
pressure
forward,
testing is,
like, yeah, I don't mean with aggression. Like, I don't mean that you attack more
no,
faster.
I get what you're saying though.
Yeah. So when two people fight, usually what happens, they want to occupy each other's space. So with strikes, with grappling, usually they will want to move you from the place where you're standing either backwards or forwards. And that's the energy that is given. The problem with a lot of these drills is no one wants to occupy space. So if I don't want to occupy space when I stab you, you're not going to want to move, realistically. Yeah. But if it's like a lot of these drills when they do this, if you didn't do anything and you just like did this, he couldn't get you with the knife. And to me, that's not a realistic approach.
No, it's I'm totally with you.
Yeah, it's living in the magic land. So it is living in this. It's great for the video. Like, I have friends
for aesthetically pleasing, get students. Yeah. And this is where my issue is, because like, I'm not so convicted with stick. Like, if you want to believe with stick with no friction, you're gonna get your check in hand there going 100 miles an hour. Okay. You know what I mean? But man, when it comes to knife, man, and you're teaching empty hand against knife, and you're teaching it to people, to me, there should be where like you actually tested this stuff out, like under the most, harshest conditions. You test it out with grapplers, you test it out with people that are fat. Like a plethora of like, training partners before like you push this on like to a community. To me, it borderlines irresponsibility. And
so yeah, of course, and I completely agree. And this is where we get into the title of guru. If you truly carry the title of guru, you should be 100% sure, not in the success rate, because shit happens.
Like, knife, it's knife, man. You're stopping a point from landing on you, but the highest percentage at least.
Yes, and you should have tested that yourself before you teach it to anyone. So a general rule of thumb is whatever you do, is it grappling or it's just parrying and striking, you should have a modest degree of success. And then you can say, look, this will work 70% of the time. If your combat attributes are on point, your speed, your power, your athleticism, then the success goes higher. But there's no technique that will work 100%.
No,
because
no. Yeah.
I can give you a great example. So I do. You've seen the videos. I do a lot of Russian Thai.
Correct.
Russian Thai grabs. So when I'm doing against someone my weight or like lower or smaller, I can get it. I can get it a lot of the times. I will get slashed or cut, but I can get it. Once I lock it in, it's very hard to get out. But again, my jiu-jitsu coach is 250 pounds. So when I grab his arm, I cannot close my fingers around his wrist.
Yeah.
I'm literally holding it like Lego hands. So and I'm just like pulling him down, and he's like, "What's happening?"
No, I know, man. I know. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing that's refreshing. You're being honest. In other words, like, hey, this is what I found. It comes out the highest percentage, and all this. This is the best we got, and all that. And we're gonna go with this until something better comes along. But at least you're being honest. You're being honest with your students. Yeah, and to me, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this came out the highest percentage. You know, we refined it. We tested a bunch of different people, weights, sizes, different attributes, and all that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just at least tested it.
Yeah, I think as martial artists, our main goal would be to be truth seekers, meaning that sometimes something that looks cool and that we thought that we can make work, we can't make it work, and it's not applicable. And we, as martial artists or as gurus, as coaches, as teachers, should say, either I suck at this and I need to get better at this. But after you spend hours and hours and you can't make it work, you have to say, this was constructed under false pretense, meaning it worked because there was no pressure added to it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm totally with you. Like, matter of fact, I'm not going to name the systems just out of respect, but what drove me to my clue, I was with two systems, and I would have like my training partners who are a little bigger than me, and they're natural grapplers. And what I found was, like, I could not, under full speed, whether it be sewing machine or just your slashes, whatever, I could not pull off the tapping under full speed, full pressure.
It's impossible.
Now they were Now if they were going like this, yeah, then I could do that. I could do the third hand, Piquita Tertiary principle, the whole 9 yards. But under full, man, just somebody coming in like, and all that. And that's when I go on the outside, the 2-on-1 and all that. Yeah. But we're both doing, I think the key thing is 2-on-1, man. If you're not doing 2-on-1, like, how are you stopping? Like, I don't get it. Like, how what are you thinking?
Yeah. So my vision is this, and I'm the theory behind it. I stole it from John Danaher, but the theory is like this: human beings, when they stand on 2 feet, they're more dangerous than when they're in the clinch or on the ground because of 2 things: kinetic energy. When a man, it can be a sewing machine, it can be just slashing. When a man starts charging in, he has kinetic energy. He has his hips, his legs, his shoulders, his forward momentum. Once you get 2-on-1, once you clinch him, you kill his upper body kinetics. Once you throw him to the ground, once you throw him to the ground, his hips now become also negated, meaning that someone that was very explosive is now not so explosive. Because he can use his hips. He cannot. Of course, the knife doesn't need power. You can do this.
No. Just needs to land.
Yeah. But again, if someone is coming at you,
I know. And that's the thing, man. You have to. And this is the thing. Like now, like what I tell, like, do you need to start out like that? No, but there should be a progression of incremental resistance, speed, and power as you're doing. Then upon that is where you draw a conclusion. Yeah. Like some of these people, and the worst is when, I know, I'm totally with you. It's just, and the thing is, because of these interviews, I have to be like careful. Because I mean, while I definitely want a platform of truth, at the same time, I don't want to like offend the community, because
of course,
you know what I mean. So it's that fine, like that fence I'm on. You know what I mean?
You have to walk the line.
I know. It's like, well, I can't, but at the same time, if I had to make a choice, I'm going to be the truth, and I'll just end the show.
I, Yeah, I think the biggest problem is, and we hear that a lot, is, well, it may not work, but this is art. It's not all about martial principles, and I hate that fucking shit. When people start saying like, it is when you're teaching empty-handed versus a weapon fight.
There is no art.
There is no art. Like there shouldn't be an art to it. You know what art is? I am fighting with an axe and the knife, and you're fighting with a long sword. The odds of that shit ever happening in real life and to as a duel is non-existent. So that is art.
Thank God.
But the idea that someone's rushing with you, especially if you're teaching police officers, correction for how do you call them? The guys that work in jails.
Oh yeah, no, correction officers. Yeah.
Correction officers, people that will experience that. On not on a regular basis, but it can like there's a high chance of it actually happening. There is no art to it, and there shouldn't be an art.
I know those people. You know what it is? Here's the distinction I think is made, like the art versus functionality. Somebody walks in your classroom, they should say, "Hey, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I just teach you art. I'm not saying this stuff is going to work for you in self-defense." At least they're being honest. They're being honest to their students. As opposed to the worst is they're giving students stuff they haven't even tested out their stuff because it was handed down to them, and they don't make that distinction. To me, that's where to me, it's a question of ethics, man. Because especially using an example of empty hand against knife, man, that's where I think ethics, man, play into it. You know,
Of course, it has to, especially if you're teaching it to people that might encounter it more sooner than regular folk.
Yeah, like the probability of their job, like they could easily, as opposed to an average layman who goes to the mall.
As far as the system that I wanted to mention, and of course I'm biased, but I'm gonna say that Calice Restrissima, at least what Guru Arnold shows, as far as empty-handed versus knife, is one of the most realistic approaches to empty-handed versus knife, because the whole instances, there's this drill. I love it because it teaches you how to move, how to create space. Basically, you're like touching hot coals. And the essence of the drill is for you not to be, I learned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He says like, once you learn the pattern down, and it's basically a slash, a stab, a slash, a stab, a slash, a slash, and a stab. Basically, all of the angles are covered. You need to randomize it. So bam, 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 and then you start. Your hands just start naturally flowing. And of course, when you ask him, "What's the point of the drill?" The point of the drill is to create distance so that you can get to your weapon.
You can draw your weapon. Okay, I like that. Yeah.
It's not or get to something better. Let's say better than empty hands. The point was never for you to, like when I ask him like, how do you disarm? He says the disarms are accidental. I'm not trying to disarm. I'm trying to create a distance to either get to my weapon or to run away.
No, it's so true, because here's the thing, like, right, you want to create distance so you can access your weapon. I mean, no, that totally makes sense. In other words, it's like the systems that don't explain it that way. It's like, in other words, there's defending and there's stopping. This crap is just defending, and if sooner or later a dart is going to land. If you get the person 100 yards, I mean, they're going to land. Where to me, making that distinction, like you can't get in the mindset and that mental loop of defending, because man, you're not. You have to get in there like, no, I'm not defending. I am stopping. You know, and that's and if that's not up here, I don't care what you know physically. Because up here, it's not even thinking about stopping. You're thinking about defending, which is
of course. And why I found the drilling, it's a very cool drill. Why I find it good, because it if you have space, of course. And then he says like, this is if you have space, is because it teaches your legs to move into position at an angle so that you can either strike and get away or draw your weapon.
I like that.
I was a firm believer in, again, just grappling, get 2-1-1, throw him to the ground, and using some of the FMA entries. but again, using 2-on-1. But again, that all depends. Like Guru Slaven, I was talking to Guru Slaven literally 2 days ago. He says your main point of grappling with the weapon should not be that you can show off that you can take someone to the ground. It should be a way that you either via an arm drag or a Russian tie, you snap him, you get to their side, flank, or back, you draw your weapon, and now it's in play.
Yeah, right. Access.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally with you. This is why, like, I wanted to get you on, because I know we had a very similar lens against empty hand against knife. We both believe in the 2-on.
Yeah, what's your video? You sent me a video of you going.
Yeah. I should post it more. I just don't. I don't know. I suppose maybe I should, but man, it's like if the helmet, man, I don't care, man. If their helmets are not on, if there's not full resistance, like I don't even want to see it because it's false. It's false.
Yeah,
you know, it's false right from the initial feed and to everything else that follows from there. If it's not like helmets on and that person's actually with full on trying to freaking kill you, and telling your students that, hey, you know what? This is not gonna work. This is not 100%, man. Like this is like you probably are gonna get cuts or whatever, but
yeah, this is the closest we can get. Like I always say, this is the closest we can get to not killing each other in training. And again, I think that the more people, because we live in modern times, we have access to safety equipment. I do not get these traditional people that say, we cannot spar, someone's gonna die. Like we have helmets, we have gloves, we have fake knives, we have knives that go beep beep when you stab someone, when you slash someone. We have all of this technology, and you're saying that, like, to me, it's funny during Musashi's time, like the Ronin Miyamoto Musashi, even they sparred, so they found ways to make helmets. Yeah. And so, and now you're telling me that you cannot, because when you see red, bro, you start ripping and killing, and that's, you know, you can't have training. And I'm like, that is such bullshit, because but again, some people like to live in that world of like, yeah, I could pull that shit off, like
no, I know. But you know what it is though, like, in other words, I always make a distinction, like a lot of times in other words, not from the lens of an instructor, but the students, because a lot of times it's not the student's fault. In other words, if you're under this person and this is what you're getting from the instructor, and you don't know any better, you're going to believe in that. Like, you know what I mean? And then you might start teaching it, and that's where that kind of revolving door starts going on, and then we get more and more, you know? Because if you look at, in other words, Marko, look at this. How many, like, there is a very small percentage of us that train it realistically. Think about the small percentage that train empty hand against knife realistically. It's not a big community. You know what I mean? Like putting helmets on and all that. It's not.
So not even just going, not just sparring. I would say that exploring the topic. So when I say exploring the topic, I mean there are guys like there which I truly consider pioneers. Mr. Craig Douglas of Shivworks is one of them. Mr. Chad Lehman, who's also a BJJ instructor, he does a lot of this grappling, but he's also a police officer, so he does a lot of grappling.
He's seen,
he does, like it's not just like, okay, we put on helmets and let's stab each other and see what works. There also needs to be flowy, like I'll go into a Russian, you switch hands, I tie the other hand, go to your back, stuff like that. I think that should be the lock flow of empty hand versus knife, not this
like the small circle of jiu-jitsu or kind of stuff like that. I know that stuff's never worked for me. Man, you know what it is, man, if you're going with guys who are like, you know, like my training partners are over 200 pounds, I mean, like, 120-pound crackhead, maybe. I mean, but do you want to train for that guy, or do you want to train for the guy who's like, our size or bigger? You know?
No, of course. I'm a cynic. I always say that, like in videos, like I'm always the cynical type. I always consider that I'm being attacked by someone bigger, stronger, and more younger, and more. I always consider that, and people are not aware what kind of people exist. Like, I'll give you a great example. So when we do this grappling with the knife stuff, when we flow and when we do hand fighting, I've done this drill, like warm-ups and stuff like that with judo guys. So when they grab your wrist, like imagine this, like you've seen all the wrist breaks and all this.
Oh, I know. You answer the telephone and I know.
Yeah. So now imagine when a grown-ass man who has practiced 10 years of his life of gripping and pulling, when he grabs their wrist and you're like,
man, I know that because they're used to grabbing cloth and they're just like
cloth. Yeah. So it is such a like, the thing I do a lot is because I started doing it because I couldn't break grips on some of these like gorillas. Like, I would put my knife, so if I was holding the knife and they were holding my hand, I took the stuff from jiu-jitsu where basically I would use my knee.
Oh, your knee break. Okay. Yeah.
I couldn't break his grip with my arms. It was literally like a grown man holding a child. It was literally like that. Yeah. So it's I think also the funny thing is, like, we're speaking now grappling versus knife, like it's something like, oh, we're exploring something new. But when you look at the vases, when you look at the walls of the Egyptians, of the Greeks, of the Mesopotamians, you will see kimuras. Yeah. You will see heel hooks. You will see 2-on-1 control versus knives, swords. You will see double legs, single legs. You will see like hammer locks and stuff like that done to a person with a weapon. So it's not anything new. It's just that as, of course, ways of fighting evolved, that stopped being popular. But again, during Europe's fighting times, there was always some sort of wrestling, be it standing wrestling, fighting, or fighting for your weapon. It was always a part, but there are no like written manuals of it.
No, agreed. I mean, right. And I've seen some of those pictures on the walls, and they're fascinating. It totally validates that they were doing. I got a couple of questions up here from Martin that were knife related. Okay. Can you tell us about the Stay Bladed Mafia and why he quit this association? So I remember hearing about that Stay Bladed Mafia.
Yeah.
That's his question. So he
what was the question? I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. So what he's asking is, can you tell us about the Stay Bladed Mafia and why he quit this association?
So it was it was a group, like it was a chain of groups on Facebook, which were into bladed martial arts, basically blade. So not just knife fighting, it was knife throwing, it was, knife selling, knife making. Like, there was a shit ton of anything that had to do with knives.
I remember say bladed. Okay, I remember. Okay.
Yeah, I still have the coin here. Just a second.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, here it is. It's Hickson.
No kidding. I didn't know they had coins. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Did every chapter have coins?
I think they did. I'm not sure. You could order those, and this guy was making them in batches, and but again, I thought it was a cool little.
I didn't realize they had coins. Now, who found it? Oh my God, what was his name that founded?
Russ Brown. Russ Brown.
Is he still doing
it? I think he is. He's from Rhode Island.
He's right next to me. I just didn't know. I didn't know if he was still doing it. I know there was a lot of drop off.
Yeah, the group disbanded over a feud. I left because maybe I made wrong decisions when I left. I'm not sure, but generally the group started dissolving into basically posting memes and like knife porn pictures and shit like that. And so many chapters, no one posted videos of actual
No, I think it was a bunch of. I hate to say this, and I don't, because I think there were some legitimate good guys in there. Don't get me wrong.
There was, yeah.
But I think it was a lot of knife, a lot of kind of like just knife geeks, like that really maybe didn't train, but wanted to be part of something. Is kind of what I kind of got from it. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like it was definitely, there were great guys in it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But
yeah.
a huge majority of it was not just that. Like you had knife makers that would post pictures of their knives, which is good, but there wasn't the point of the group. The point of the group is knife exploration, empty-handed versus knife, knife versus knife, stuff like that.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
I hate to say it. It seemed like there were a lot of misfits in there. I'm just being honest.
Again, like a lot of like a lot of the stuff I do, I get enamored quickly with the idea of something, and then I get disappointed. So yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like I know there's like a lot of like I remember when chapters started folding up. You know what I mean? Like where they called it different names. They didn't want the association with that. Matter of fact, I don't think there's any chapters left.
Yes.
Oh, there. Okay. There's still a couple chapters. Okay.
Yeah, there is. There's Greece. There's
Greece.
Germany. Yeah. Vangelis, that group. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, it's mostly the problem with a lot of the stuff is that when people make these groups, they don't make content, because making content is not easy. It's not easy because you have to sacrifice your time, you have to sacrifice your training to record that. So it's not an easy. But if you want something to grow, to be big,
you have to. If you want to get exposure,
yeah.
I know. That's why. I mean, I can't be bothered. I'm just being honest. Like I have videos of mine, but maybe if I was younger, I would probably have more incentive to do that. But now I'm just like,
yeah, of course. I do it. I like some people say like, oh, you do it to become famous. I'd never.
No, I don't see that in you. No, I don't see that.
Now it's not just that. I find the best, because I truly find it like that. Like I will post a video. I like editing, but like I'll post a video, for example, of a Russian Thai, and I'll get like messages which are good. Like the first guy that I like that about my friends and the people I hang out. Like Guru Slaven he's like he's like an honest guy. He will say me like, I love the Russian Thai, I don't like your knife draw. And I'm like, what's the matter with it? Well, when you're drawing your knife, he can, and I interrupted him. If you think he can slash me, he cannot slash me. He said, I didn't mean slashing. He can stab up at your neck. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. He said, this is why I don't like it. And I appreciate more that, like,
constructive criticism. Yeah, as opposed to just saying like, I can't stand this. They'll make a comment like, no. Well, what the hell is that?
Yeah. Of course.
It's like, I don't know. So, I tell you, this community, man, it brings out some special ones, huh? So here, you know what? While we're on it, let's show some pieces of your video.
Which one did you pick?
I picked the can you wait, where'd it go? Can you see this?
No, nothing.
That happens sometimes, but the audience, I'm gonna lower myself just so they can see.
I'm still just seeing myself, but I hope they're seeing it. I don't know what you're showing. I'm staring at myself. Probably people can't even hear me.
Yeah, there's something wrong with the. There's something going on with the video. I'm sorry, but you know what? You know what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
I'm almost thinking we should do a part two. Like if we did a part two, you would be able to get a training partner, right?
Not just the training partner. I could get two training partners. One for the grappling part, who's also a jiu-jitsu. I mean, they're both jiu-jitsu guys, but one is like really in jiu-jitsu. And the other one is my main training partner for a lot of the stick and knife stuff that we do. So I can demo with both of them. So I can
I'm
demo
just thinking because we're coming up on because like a few more minutes because I have my lesson. What I'm thinking is instead of like going into stuff, I'm almost thinking is in other words, what I'm looking at here as far as what I got left. I definitely got a few more questions.
Yeah, I'll try to answer them quickly. Just shoot the questions. I'll try to answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So your findings, much like mine, you found the 2-on-1. Why is the 2-on-1 Indian against knife so important in your opinion?
Because of the control it offers to any other type of grip. Basically, you're not just holding with two arms, you're making him carry your weight on that arm.
100%. And here's I mean, there's just, how else are you going to stop him from cutting you? You have to get I know it's like, it's not complex. I'll
just add one thing just quickly. The difference why the 2-on-1 control is much better for unarmed versus armed than it is unarmed versus unarmed. And the reason is why you don't see it a lot in grappling competitions is because when you're holding anything, you make a fist. And if you try, a lot of the counters to 2-on-1 is basically you limp arm it and you push their head off.
Yeah, you snake out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you're holding something, when you start doing that, you must open your hand.
No, good point. Right. Yeah, because you need that tension.
I get a lot of questions like, if it's so good, why don't we see it in fighting? Because in wrestling, like the Russians made the Russian type famous. In judo, actually, it's not in wrestling. Just they made it famous in judo, the 2-on-1 hold. But again, the main reason is when you're holding something in your arm, if you don't want to let go it, you will basically you will give them advantage because your hand is locked. But counter a lot of that stuff is just by limp arming and pushing off and squaring off to them, which obviously you cannot do unless you want to release your weapon. Sorry for the long explanation.
No. Right on. Yeah, I just here's my theory. It's just simple. If you truly do realistic empty hand against knife, and you're being honest with yourself, if you haven't come to the conclusion of 2-on-1, I firmly believe you're lying to yourself. I don't know what else to say. I just don't. I don't know. To me, it's pretty. Okay, let's quickly. Knife grappling, like I do a lot like you do, and I find that straight BJJ, while you can take some of the concepts of it, but a lot of times it's straight BJJ. To me, like you got first of all, you're monitoring hands. Like if they're reaching for their pocket, I mean, they're not giving you the wallet. I mean, you got to like monitor hands to see what they're doing. Did you find similar conclusions?
Yes, it's basically a real form of trapping. Like when people think trapping, they think this,
box out,
But actual trapping is someone goes for their weapon, you trap their hands. Someone starts going out, you trap their hands. That's actual trapping. Meaning that if you're not, when I grappled with but it's not a big transition. When I first started doing it with my jiu-jitsu friends, a lot of them didn't monitor the hands.
No, they're gonna die. Because they're looking for chokes. Their mindset is looking for Kimura, chokes, arm bars. They're gonna get freaking I know.
And usually they're not looking at the waistline. But maybe 1-2 rounds and I start stabbing them.
No, they become instantly aware.
And then the brain starts working. Okay, I can ignore his passing because he's not gonna pass. I can just focus on hand fighting and stuff like that. So it's not like people think it's you will need. No, it's not. It's very instinctual.
I totally agree. Like
it's very instinctual.
I found the same thing. I totally agree. Like straight, like just grapplers. Whether they're just playing with, of course, most of them being BJJ.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, it was like a field day because they weren't even paying attention. like because they're just so fixated. Okay, I want to lock them up. I'm gonna choke them. I'm gonna armbar them. You know what I mean? Without even knowing that they're just getting. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
yeah. To me, grapplers, man, it's insane that. And I know there's a sport jiu-jitsu aspect and all that, but that don't heavily incorporate that yet is because, man, they're going to be the first ones to die because they're going to be looking for arm bars.
Yes, there
Yeah.
is not just arm bars. They'll be looking to get the fight to the ground without monitoring.
Yeah, without even realizing that.
Yeah,
On the
yeah,
way to the clinch, man, they probably took a few pokes and didn't even know it. Now they're leaking.
yeah, yeah. So I would say that hand fighting grips from Greco-Roman wrestling are like a must in, like at least at the stand-up grappling. Once you get to the ground, it's jujitsu, but I think it should be jujitsu with a different mind aspect where you try to create space to either get to your knife or to stand up, because it's a death sentence if you're trying to fight off your back.
No, man,
It's,
like
it's a death
you know what?
sentence.
Do you find this position? I mean, obviously, somebody mounting you with a knife is a nightmare. But if you're in like, if I'm in somebody's guard and they try to draw, like I found a lot of good answers there. But if I have somebody in my guard and where they're coming down, just that natural power arc,
You're
man, it's a
fucked.
mother, man. Kick, man.
Yeah,
Do you find I kick out? What did you find?
kicking out also. So
It's the only
basically,
thing I found it works, man.
yeah,
Just get the hell out of there. It's just too much to contend with, you know?
or I think the brothers like Renner, they show us stuff where you like go like basically with your foot to their bicep if you can grab
No,
their.
I've done that. You trap it in here and all that. But man, one guy I go with, he's very strong. He just pulls out. I couldn't hold
Yeah,
it.
kick out. That to me like
That's the
it's
only thing that worked for me. It's the only
yeah,
thing.
create space
Get the
to get
legs
up.
on the hips and just start kicking out, backing up. That's the only thing that like came out like most successful. Like I tried
Yes,
grabbing too,
yes,
you know?
yeah. Yeah, of course, I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Because when someone starts manically coming down, it's
It's
very
just a
hard to block.
hard art to stop. Like,
Yes,
man,
it
you
is.
know,
It is.
like
It is. It is.
no.
Even if
Oh,
you block, it still passes.
no, they're still gonna be able to weigh it
Yeah.
through. And yeah, that's good that we came to the same thing, just kicking out. That's yeah, I know. That's the only thing. Awesome. But here, we're gonna have to okay. So is it safe to say you agree to a part two?
Sure. Sure. Yes.
Because
Of
then we
course.
do the part two, we can get into your kind of own system, your axe, more into the
Yeah.
knife, your demos. It'd be a good part two.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. I would love to. I would love if we can, as we talk, I can get up and try to illustrate what I'm
Well,
saying
no, no,
because it's
no.
much
That's what I
easier.
want the folks to see it. Yeah, I definitely. I
Yeah.
want the folks to see it. Yeah, absolutely. So I want you to have your day. You know what I mean? So folks, the only reason why we're not going farther, today, one,
Can
I
I
had,
just give a, sorry, Dean,
oh
can
no,
I
no,
just give a quick shout out?
oh sure, go ahead, go ahead.
So I would like to thank and give a shout out to Guru Slaven, Guru Baste, Guru Arnold, Guru Sixto, and my training partners who couldn't make it today, and to a bunch of the guys who bought the course, from Phil to Martin, and everyone. Thank you for tuning in, watching, and supporting me.
Yeah, yeah. And so, folks, the reason why we're cutting this one a little early today, I had an opening today, and I wanted to get them in, but I have a lesson to teach. And the other thing another reason why we do part two is because unfortunately his training partners couldn't come today. So the second episode, we're going to cover some more questions. He definitely is going to get into his acts. I want to give some comments on the programs that he shared with me. I liked them. I'm still going through them, but what he's shared with me, I want to give some commentary on that. I thought they were really good, and his demos. So I think it'll be a great part too. So and of course I'll have more information out. I'm going to check with him, his availability, and what have you. And but we'll definitely going to make a part two happen. But thank you for coming out with such short notice, man. I felt bad dropping that in your lap. Like, hey, hey, I can get you on.
Yeah, it's not a problem, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
live
I'm
for.
glad it works. Yeah, no, because I really appreciate your lens and your take on things. It's refreshing that because to have somebody to have that commonality with somebody halfway across the world that that does things and that. And you approach it with integrity and honesty. And I appreciate it. You know what I mean? So, good on you. So, but folks, we're going to be having them back on. So don't fret. Marko, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Also, same.
Yeah, and we'll be in touch.
Sure.
All right, Marko. You take care, buddy.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, yeah, so I'll definitely schedule a part 2 with him for sure. Who's next? Oh, Tuesday. Theme-oriented interview. It's going to be 2 on Bill McGrath and Grew with Tom Pena out of England. And we're going to go over knife, the legality, the ethics when you teach somebody, and all that, the responsibility. Can't just teach any Joe Schmo. There should be some background checks and all that. So that's going to be this Tuesday at 7:00. So again, 2 on Bill McGrath and Tom Pena. And again, more theme oriented since they've both been on before. So their backgrounds have been revealed, but we'll get a quick background on them just for folks who didn't see them. But again, that's going to be episode 129 this Tuesday night at 7:00. All right, folks. Thanks to those who watched, commented, and submitted questions. But I'm looking forward to this part 2. So I think it's almost good that we separate it as opposed to rushing and just kind of to make it happen. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, more information comes in, I'll give it to you guys. All right. Take care.